Good afternoon and welcome along. It's the Headliner Show, special afternoon show today. Got special guests in the studio. We're going to be talking all things goth and all things Gothtober with a special gig coming up. Got some great music to play you as well, and got some just awesomeness for an entire hour. So I'm going to start off with what I think is a classic goth track, and my guest will probably shoot me down.
Till the
Killing Joke there with Love Like Blood, which is one of my favourite tunes from the 80s, and probably isn't as gothy as it could have been, but I just love that tune. So I am joined today with the mighty Pete Cole, regular guest DJ on my afternoon shows.
Mighty?
Indeed.
Good afternoon, Edward.
And I have the amazing Andy Clark from Flowers of Sacrifice, the band. He's also in the studio with me today. Good evening or afternoon, gents. How are you doing?
Good afternoon. Yeah, just good, thanks.
So elbow the wall. Not a good start.
No, it's not a good start to the show. But
Good work, Pete.
Get on. Right.
So we're here to discuss all things goth, as I said, and also a big show coming up next Friday, the 28th.
Well, this Friday now. It's a new week.
It is, yeah, this coming Friday, 28th.
Don't confuse the listeners.
The mighty Farnborough Football Club.
There's a lot of mightiness going on here.
It is. Everything's mighty.
It's a mighty afternoon.
It is going to be mighty.
Yeah. Do you want me to say a few words
Yeah,
about this?
let me know what's going on.
Right. As it's Halloween, what a great time to reintroduce to the world the Farnborough band Flowers of Sacrifice, who've been away for 3 decades and a bit. God, that sounds so old, doesn't it? Supported by The Landings and Harsh Language. It's going to be a great night. It's in aid of the Sophie Lancaster Foundation. Very sad story of a girl who looked a bit different and got, well, more than picked on, got murdered because of the way she looked. Back in 2007. Oh, we got thunder. Oh, that's a bit poignant, wasn't it?
Yeah, atmospheric.
Oh. Basically, it's kind of like dress up, be yourself. If you're a goth, just be yourself, just come as you are. And as it's Halloween, you can put on some devil horns or a bit of eyeliner, dress up, just to impress. Alternatively, that is. Tickets are £6 from WeGotTickets. They're £7 on the door. Should say WeGotTickets is a small, fee, booking fee. We've got 2 sort of other special guests. We've got DJ Jonathon, who a bit of a leg end in his own right. Used to be a DJ for Feet First in Camden and lots of indie bands and clubs back in the 90s. Back to the 80s, really, even. And we have the compere, the mighty Chinners, who writes for Rock Regeneration webzine. Fantastic chap. That's it in a nutshell. Please come on down, support a fantastic... Sorry, it's for Sophie Lancaster Foundation, a very worthy charity put together by Sophie's mum, and even more poignantly, who passed away herself quite recently. No doubt connected to her daughter's death. You know, long and drawn out. Poor woman. Poor Sophie. So anyone that gets been bullied for looking different, whether it just being because you've got pink hair, I think all we've been in our time been targeted or bullied by, I don't know, dare I say it, normal people who think they're normal. But I could rant about this, but the Sophie story, I mean, if you look it up online, it's absolutely horrendous what happened to that poor girl and her boyfriend. Got to stamp it out. If we can help it by making a little bit of money, which goes towards educating kids in schools, that kind of thing, it's just got to be worth it. I'm talking on waffling. Talk to Andy.
Yes, indeed. It's going to be a great gig. I'm going to be down there if you want to come and buy me a beer this coming Friday. And we do have Andy Clark in the studio, who has been in a variety of bands over the years.
Yes.
But probably 32 years ago was in the Flowers of Sacrifice.
31. Don't make it too old.
So now, the question asked, 31 years later, how are we back?
So, how are we back? I think it's a story of unfinished business, really. The Flowers back in the day, I think we recorded some great songs, but we recorded great songs with cheap equipment, and they never quite fulfilled their potential. And as you say, I've been in a number of bands over the years, had great times in all those bands, but the Flowers always felt like unfinished business. And although we split the band up, Pat our guitarist and myself were friends before the band. We remained in contact. We remained friends. I think every few months for the last 20-something years, we were like, should we give it another go? And we never quite got round to it. And then I think it was the back end of 2018. Pat hadn't picked up a guitar for almost 25 years. And so we started off literally sitting on the kitchen table with a Walkman and an unplugged guitar to see if we could remember any of the songs. And it grew from there. And we decided it was viable. We then borrowed Jamie Borland, bass player from the Landings, so he's pulling a double shift on the 28th. He came in and joined the band, and it really, between the three of us, we think we've actually got something quite good going on. We've got one EP released, which kind of proved the point that the good songs were there, and now the better equipment sort of shows that off better. So yeah, we are very excited to be out recording again, and on the 28th we start being a live proposition
again. The first gig back.
That's absolutely the first gig back, yeah.
And hopefully the first of many.
We hope so. Yeah, we've got a wish list of places we want to try and play. We want to get up into London. We'd set our sights on getting into Whitby at some point in the future as well, and we will be targeting goth bands we know, just harangue them. We might set Pete on them to get support slots as we go.
20% commission, so 20% of nothing is...
So what I'm going to do, I'm going to play one of the Flowers of Sacrifice's tunes, Midnight Red. Is there a story behind this tune?
There is a bit of a story, actually. Midnight Red predates the band. I wrote it probably before I had a band, recorded it pre-Flowers, recorded it with the Flowers, although it was never released. It was actually the very first track we played live ever, so that was at the George supporting Explode Head in 1990. The song's gone through a few iterations and a few changes, but I actually wrote the lyric. Bearing in mind it was written in the mid-80s, so Cold War 80s, and I woke up from a sort of reoccurring nightmare about nuclear war, let's keep the show light. And I wrote the lyric to Midnight Red after a dream.
Yeah, no, fair enough, sounds pretty cool. We've got lightning and all sorts going on.
How goth can you get? This is brilliant, thanks.
There'll be bats and all sorts.
When I say thanks God, it's actually thanks the devil, isn't it? Yeah. Whoa!
Hope that came out on the mic. Let's do this.
a lost old sense of feeling. The burning dust falling all around. Midnight angel, only you can stop the red sky coming down. Like angel, only you can stop the midnight turning red. Midnight falls, only you can stop the burning dust coming. Like angel, only you can stop the fade away. Watch the fall of the midnight majesty. Watch the fall of the burning dust. Watch the flight of the midnight angel. Watch the fall. Watch the fall. Watch. 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 Midnight angel, only you can stop the red sky coming down. Black angel, only you can stop the midnight turning red. Midnight falls, only you can stop the burning dust coming. Black angel, only you can stop the fade away. We watched, we waited, as the fallout came. Tears came not from joyless faces. We watched, we waited, as the fallout came. Tears came not from joyless faces, but from those who had made the incision. I had me a vision. There wasn't any television.
So we go. That was Flowers of Sacrifice with Midnight Red. Now that's what I'd call a goth sound.
Thank you.
You know, I remember being back in my early teens.
Eyeliner time.
Yeah, and going to
Headliner.
I know.
Sorry.
Eyeliner, headliner.
Yeah, joke.
Yeah, and going to my mum that I really wanted these like fancy sleeves and everything, and she just looked at me and she goes, "That's nice that you want that, but you're not going to get it." that was my goth phase over and done with in 20 seconds of asking my mum, "Why could I be please looking like a bit like a the guy from The Cure, whose name's just gone out of my head."
Robert Smith.
Robert Smith, thank you very
Now,
much.
I have a similar story. I came home with a couple of tins of black paint, and my mum looked at them and going, "What are they for?" And my bedroom. No, they're not. I ended up having to. I covered my entire walls, ceiling with posters and cuttings from like NME and Sounds. You couldn't therefore see the walls, but I wasn't allowed to paint them black.
No, exactly. You see what happens.
And now, how do you feel about that? Being a parent yourself, the same sort of age children.
Yeah, they're not getting to paint their rooms black. I wasn't allowed it. They're not allowed it.
Oh, brilliant.
Oh, indeed.
Can I just send out a big love and hug to Chinners, who's listening in, who's going to be our compere from the evening sun. Enjoy this and hope you're enjoying the show.
Chinners, we look forward to seeing you again on Friday. Literally, it's like the apocalypse outside. It is quite amazing.
How goth can you get?
I know. And it's just unbelievable. So, talking about goth bands, who would you say was your favourite? I'll go to Pete to throw you straight at that. Give Andy a few seconds to think about it.
Again, it's define what is goth and what isn't. I love Balaam and the Angel. They started out really kind of goth, but they ended up sort of metally towards the end, and then disappeared for a while, came back and only really played the old gothy stuff. The Mission, The Cult. Can you say the Cult of Goth? Love album?
Definitely the Love album and Dreamtime before it.
And getting a bit metally after that, weren't they? So, yeah, I think Belong the Angel, my favourite Goth band. The Greatest Story Ever Told album is an absolute masterpiece. So, and I'd like to thank them for being very patient with me, because I've been posting about this gig on their Facebook page the same day they're playing a gig themselves.
Yeah.
And then told me to go away or remove my post. So, love you guys, and we'll be seeing you in December, actually. So, me and Annie going to see them, aren't we?
We are. We're going up in Birmingham in December to see them, yeah.
We are.
Yeah.
It's a bit much, isn't it, having a gig on the same day? How dare they?
I know. Well, you know, I originally had them in mind as a headliner at Farnborough with Flowers to Support.
Yeah.
It's like, and he said they're playing Whitby.
Now, actually, they're playing Whitby on the Saturday, so I'm half tempted to finish our gig and drive up.
Wait for the dry ice to clear away, then off you go.
Absolutely.
Now, your favourite Goth bands?
It's too many to list. So, I mean, you know, Pete's mentioned The Mission, seen them loads of times, Balaam and the Angel, especially their early stuff. He mentioned the Cult, and I'm sitting here in a Death Cult
So you are.
T-shirt. So the precursors to the Cult, who were more goth. Really speaking, there's loads. I mean, you can't sit and talk about goth bands without mentioning, drawing in Jonathon again. He was, of course, the first drummer in Specimen.
Mm-hmm.
But he denies they're a goth band, of course.
No, he didn't. He didn't want to be. I thought it was he didn't want to be as goth as they were, but he was definitely the drummer in Specimen. They set up the Batcave, so you've got all those classic Batcave bands as well. And yeah, you can't avoid mentioning Bauhaus. I guess with a drum machine and a baritone voice, I can't get away with not mentioning either the Sisters of Mercy or March Violets. Just drawn to anything that's kind of goth, really, and it's. I guess there was something that solidified my interest in the music. Was a friend creating a mixtape for me. I've told this story a few times. And he put an album on one side. You know, back in the day when you couldn't afford to buy everything, so mates take them for you, which is, of course, completely illegal.
And killing music, yeah.
And killing music. But on the other side, you know, he had things like Alien Sex Fiend, The Sex Gang Children, 1919, Altered States, The Sisters of Mercy, and it kind of just made me go, that's what I want to do. So that kind of crystallised my view as to the music I wanted to create at the time.
What about Susie and the Banshees? Would you class them as goth?
Yeah.
On occasion.
Went from punk, went to goth. I think Juju is possibly one of the greatest goth albums ever, even though it brings in elements of psychedelic rock as well. Absolutely superb album. Again, you know, sort of Killing Joke, Susie and the Banshees. The Cure always deny they were a goth band. I think their entire piece wasn't goth, but there were albums. Pornography is again one of the greatest goth albums ever recorded. But I don't think the band's entire output has been goth. But there's so much love. There's so much love in the goth community for those bands, it's impossible to ignore. And when you start looking at Susie's look, that really was influential.
Yeah.
Still is, isn't it?
Absolutely.
Icon.
Absolutely amazing.
What's your favourite goth band, Edward?
Well, that's what I was thinking, because every time I think goth bands, and then I go, I like The Mission, Susie and the Banshees, but not all of it. Again, the Cult were amazing. I mean, just a stunning band. But then they went less goth at the end. I would have thought more rock. So, but then why can't people change? You don't have to be stuck in a genre. That's one of the things with my shows on the Sunday evenings, is that people never know what the hell I'm going to play from one week to the next, because one week I might feel indie, the next week I might feel dancey or housey or techno or hip hop or whatever. But I think that's a broader way to be. But yeah, I do wonder at some of the bands, like, as you say, The Cure. You couldn't say Friday I'm in Love is a goth track.
Between Days, I mean, that's a classic, isn't it?
But then, Pornography is a stunning album.
Absolutely. So dark, so bleak.
It's not one you want to put on a sunny day, driving along thinking, I feel happy now. But it's a great album.
The Goths don't feel happy, do they?
No.
Because it's a cliche.
Yeah, but maybe they do. Maybe that's just a cliche that they don't. Who knows? We don't know. So I'm going to play another track by an artist that's going to be on this gig, The Landings. I've seen them a few times now. I've always tell the story about when they gave me their CD album. I was so excited about it, put it in my car, and then for some reason the CD disappeared, but I kept the box.
Black hole.
Because I thought one day I'm going to find this CD, I'm going to find it. And on the last time I bumped into the guys, I was like, can I have another CD? And they were like, oh, go on then. And then I got the new CD, which I've kept.
Keep the box, lads, I don't need that.
Yeah. I kept, and then obviously I found the other CD. But that's always the way it works, isn't it? It's like, oh man, years. But so I'm going to play Lost to This World, and it's by The Landings.
It does not rain in outer space. Now you're floating there at your own pace. And drifting around, you're not coming down. Still I'm elevated by your sound. We'll always be here and always alone. Inside a shell and on your own. You give us no choice, you're part of the crowd. And freedom is fair until it's found. But you're lost in this world.
proper track there. That's The Landings, Lost to This World.
Absolutely beautiful song.
They will be playing at the gig. Another band playing is Harsh Language. I don't think I've ever seen them before.
I've not seen him live, but I've known Sean. Do you know what? I assume he's a front man. A bit embarrassing, isn't it? Sean, because he's played in bands locally. There's a band that came out of Rubin called Freeze the Atlantic. It's John and Guy, and he was. No, that's right. He replaced John from Rubin in Freeze the Atlantic a few years ago now. That makes any sense, does it? Yeah, he's just played local. He's been a local scene for a while. I think he lives in London now, but he's coming back to where he's from for the gig. Again, I thought they quite well chosen for what they sound like. Oh, no, gothy overtones.
Were they signed up for another gig before that didn't happen?
No.
Mixing up with someone else then?
Who would that have been?
I don't know.
Not the Beeline, was it?
Oh, it could have been, yeah.
Yeah, still have yet to put them on. And COVID doesn't ruin everything.
Yeah, indeed. Well, hopefully now we're back gigging again. It's pretty cool. Because, that was horrendous 2 years of not being able to go and see any live music. Or
Yep.
The only live music I could do was picking up my guitar and playing the 12-bar blues in my front room. Was
Funny game. Stop!
Yeah, exactly. My family go, oh, you need to get back out there. for the love of God, put the guitar down, leave it down to someone who knows what they're doing on there. So so I'll play a Harsh Language tune. I'm just flipping through to see what I can find. As I don't know, I'm going to play something random because it's probably going to be like a 3-minute instrumental.
They do have an instrumental
dub version now, so I'm going to play What Success Looks Like.
That was actually on the Farmer Groove.
Yeah, that's probably why I thought of it.
I sold my life today. The piece was worth its weight in gold. Take this pen and this matted paper. Drop these eyes inside this paper.
memories of a life I have never seen. I am haunted by the memories of a life I have never seen.
Very nice ending there.
Yeah, I can't press two buttons. I say this every time I do the show, I can't do two buttons. Give me one button, I'm fine. That was a brand new one by the Flowers of Sacrifice, The Haunting.
It was new, but somehow not as well. So I mentioned we were recording or just playing in the kitchen and trying to get some stuff right, and there's a track that Pete will probably remember, Dark Carnival, which has a beautiful kind of breakdown half-speed chorus, and Pat played this beautiful arpeggiating guitar part. Hadn't played in 25 years, and he couldn't get it right. And just one practice, I think it was the first practice, we moved from the kitchen into Pat's workshop, the workshop of doom as we now call it. And he was playing that riff wrong, and he got me to stop the backing track, and then he started deliberately playing it wrong and adding these beautiful flourishes to it. And I then realised that he was actually writing a new guitar part and a new song, and he played for about 5 minutes. I managed to get a recorder on it, and then he said, "That's a new song and it's going to be called The Haunting, finish it." and that was the result. And we recorded it. And originally I played a bass part on keyboards, but I'm not a bass player, so it was a very simple part. And then Jamie came in and he started working his magic on the bass. But the point towards the end of the song where the vocal lifts, I didn't know until I recorded it. As we recorded it all in lockdown, we were passing USB sticks through windows at each other to get this recorded. And when I played it for the first time, it actually took me by surprise. This beautiful swell of distorted bass came in at the point where I'm supposed to really push the vocal, and I actually stopped dead. But yeah, the haunting, it was the first new thing we wrote together, and it was at that point a kind of realisation that we weren't just going to retread the old songs, and we were going to write and record new material.
Yeah, it always fascinates me, and every guest I've had in here in all the shows, I'm forever asking them how they create their music. Some guests are like, we just kind of sit down and make it. Others are, it's great to hear a story about trying to do something that was an old track and ending up with something completely different. And that's process of music. That's the beauty of it, I guess.
And the way we rehearse now, because we had noise complaints from the neighbours, we now do what I call silent disco band practice. So everyone plugs into a mixing desk and we're listening under headphones, but with a spare channel on the desk, we take everything out to a little voice recorder.
Yeah.
So Pat and Jamie will quite often meander around and just sort of riff off each other, play some new parts in, and we capture it every week. We got this new stuff, and so 1 week we'll play it, I'll process it down into a track, following week we can start working it up. I can switch our little 8-track recorder we use for the backing tracks. I can switch that into kind of drum machine mode, so I'll play live drum machine while they're sort of riffing. And we've written 2 or 3 tracks that way now. Oh,
that's pretty cool. So I was going to play another track by the Landings, and earlier on I said, I'm going to play this track, and MP said, no, play a different one. So now I'm going to play the track that Andy and I thought, we love that track.
But they're all good.
They are all good.
Excellent albums,
guys. Just so I'd moan at you, Pete, being the guest DJ yet again. If I can't have a go at you, then what's the point of the show, eh?
Not off.
So this is Neutralised, and this is the Landings.
You're
So just to let you know what's coming up on Kick Radio today. After me, in 9 minutes time now, Mowgli MCR is going to be taking over all the way in Manchester, and he'll be playing some amazing stuff. And then I'll be back 8 PM tonight, and it's a special request show where I'm playing the tunes from Norm, a regular listener to my show. He's chosen the entire set list today, and it's pretty damn good. And I'm saying that before I've even done it. Probably be terrible when I do it. No, it'll be awesome. So tune in for that. So we are here with Pete Cole, Andy Clark, and we're talking Gothtober. Hope you've enjoyed the banter and the music we played today. Let's have a reminder of the gig, because it'd be lovely to see as many people as possible to get there. 28th of October.
Do you want to read it out?
Yeah, why don't I read it out? Look, I've got the flyer in my hand and
best
everything.
newsreader voice.
Yes, indeed. And now, coming up on Music Scene. So we've got, obviously, the headliners, Flowers to Sacrifice, Be There. 31 years in the making, this gig. I mean, come on. If you haven't got a reason to go for that. You got the Landings, they are amazing. I love watching them play live. Got Harsh Language, who I'm going to see for the first time. Obviously, you got DJ Jonathon, Feet First.
How do you pronounce his last name, Ed?
Trevisick.
Trevisick.
That'll do.
That's pretty close.
I always struggle with that. You know I do.
That's right.
And he'll be playing some quality music which will go alongside the sound. Obviously Chinners, who is an absolute genius, writes for Rock Generation. He'll be doing the comparing. You can come in Halloween or goth dress. It's highly recommended, but obviously you're not going to be turned down. If you're me and you turn up looking like a normal person, you will be allowed in.
You have to find normal, Ed.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, well, normal is the balding.
Just put some eyeliner on, mate. Make the effort.
Fat guy. Yeah, well, yeah, maybe I will. Maybe I'll just paint my head like a pumpkin. Who knows what's going to happen? Doors are open at 7 PM. You can get them from WeGotTickets, £6 in advance if you just don't want to muck about. Because £7 on the door, and it is cash only. So when you walk in with your card, it's worth remembering that you do need to have cash. So if you don't want to do the cash thing, book it in before, and then just turn up with your code and everything, and that's fine. You can find more information on the blagpromotions.uk website.
And it's all for Sophie Lancaster.
And it is for, the Sophie Lancaster Foundation, which is something utterly amazing. And for someone to lose their life for just looking how they wanted to look.
20 years old she was.
20 years old and murdered, basically, for not looking like people want people to look is horrendous.
Actually kicked to death.
Yeah.
Poor girl.
And the fact, if anything, the legacy remains because the charity is set up and it will continue to go. And I'm really pleased that that's something that you're supporting for this gig, Pete. Because inclusion, even now in 2022, the message still needs to be hammered home, and it's ridiculous.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's a very important message for all the bands. But I mean, I was speaking for the Flowers. It's something we were very honoured, privileged to be playing for the Sophie Lancaster Foundation and the excellent work they do. That kind of diversity and inclusion that we need to get to. Just amazing work they do.
I'm going to play one more track by the Flowers of Sacrifice. It's called Monochrome, and then we'll be back to say our goodbyes and handing over to Manchester.
The nights with the passion of pain, turn a new day, in wretched our days, we will taste the pain, the passion of pain, in Monaco, Monaco. Passion of pain, turns a new day, in wretched our days, we will taste the pain. The passion of pain, in Monaco, Monaco, select the horror, turn me down, the nights we share. Days in Monaco, the legend, the sound, the passion of pain. Chris Monaco, the legend of days in Monaco, the passion of pain in Monaco, the legend of days in
There we go. That was the Flowers of Sacrifice, monochrome. Your tracks end really quickly.
It's like, "Ooh."
Sorry, Ed.
Yeah. The next time you come back, make sure you put a bit more reverb on the end of the track.
Long tails on the songs.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yes, please. Yeah, that'd be brilliant. Well, it's been a pleasure to have Pete and Andy with me today.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah,
No.
thank you. It's been a
Thank
joy.
you, and it was just beautiful to see that the heavens turned into like a tempest, and they had thunder,
Stop now.
lightning.
Now we're finishing the show.
Yeah, I know. There's
I think it was an amazing apocalyptic background. It was great.
Oh no, still a bit of lightning going on
There was,
outside
wasn't there?
So we're going to be handing over now to Malgley in Manchester. I will be back at 8 p.m. Playing the track selected by the Canadian listener to my show, Norm. It's going to be amazing. So thanks very much, guys. It's been an absolute pleasure. And thank you very much.
Thank you.
Cheers.